Over the last quarter, we've seen quite a buildup in stocks across all three exchanges in the world, so we do seem to be fairly well supplied. But going into the new year, we should work off that supply, and certainly within the second quarter, I could see prices rebound to move higher.
Does it mean that you're forecasting a deficit of copper in the back half of next year based on pure supply crunch?
Yes, definitely we have seen a buildup in stocks across these three exchanges during the last quarter. I think that's due to year-end fiscal cliff posturing, and that has removed a lot of copper off a lot of people's books. But there's been a lot of mines and producers that have put production off the table, expecting slow economic growth for 13, so therefore that alone will cause supply disruptions.
So on the supply side, that might be the reason for a copper rally, but on the demand side, you mentioned all that copper going into warehouses. China is a prime example. Scrap imports at a 4-year high, concentrate imports of 24% in November, but is all of this going to end use, like making a washing machine, or is it just stuck in these warehouses?
Well, there has been rumored demand, rumored increases in secret bonded warehouses, that I like to call them, because nobody really knows how much is off exchange, of 800,000 tons. So a lot of copper has been imported for storage, but not necessarily use right now.
Right. Okay. So, Adam, little questions on what China actually has in its warehouses over there.
Yeah, that's always the million-dollar question,
right,
trying to figure out those Chinese inventories. China's the biggest buyer of copper in the world. Jerry, what's your read on what's happening right now within the copper market and how China's impacting it?
Well, China is going to grow again. And if you figure, you know, my God, only 7.5%. 7.5% times the size of the Chinese economy would give you, just in 1 year, the 10th largest economy in the world. So if China has reached bottom, they're going to grow again. The focus of their new plan, the government there is to have domestic-oriented growth, consumer-oriented growth. That's going to mean, you know, as Alex was saying before, that's going to mean washing machines. It's going to be more urbanization. I mean, it's a trivial number of people, just about 300 million, right? That's all we've got left.
Only the population
of the U.S.
Right,
left to urbanize in China over the next 10 years. There is going to be a good support for demand for basic commodities for that reason.
Which obviously would make you more of a buyer of copper under $4 a pound, which is where it is now.
You know, I'm really bad at trying to trade commodities, because I don't know when somebody's Chilean workers are going to go on strike. I don't know where somebody's going to figure out a better material to use in a washing machine to get rid of some of that copper they're using. I'd rather look at the guys who are trying to find those new materials that substitute for basic commodities and leave to the day traders, like the gentleman was on just a minute ago. Let them worry about the day-to-day fluctuations in copper. As a long-term investor, I might want to own some as an inflation hedge, a diversified group of, but I don't know how to play that on an hour-by-hour basis. There are a lot smarter people than me for doing that.
Well, in that case, Alex, I think you and Eric can take it away from here.
I think we will. Perfect segue. So, Eric, you know, ball toss to you. How are you trading copper under $4 a pound if you're expecting stronger demand later in the year?
Well, certainly the elephant in the room is the fiscal cliff. If we go over and there's no significant resolution, there's going to be a wholesale for sale of everything, all asset classes. So you definitely have to stand aside and wait for the dust to settle. Barring anything stupid happening like that, I am bullish for copper for next year. I think the housing sector in the United States, the car sector in the United States, and just general pent-up demand from the last quarter, I think we've seen a little bit of people muted business activity because of the fiscal cliff. And if all goes well, we return to a little bit more active than we've been in the last quarter here.
So quickly, just 5 seconds here. Are you shorting copper now, or are you just waiting on the sidelines?
I'll definitely be shorting copper into the fiscal cliff issue for the new year. Barring anything, I will buy lower and look for higher prices in the second quarter.